Rise, man.
The Force will be with you.
Always.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Star Wars Meg, here to give you all of the news from a galaxy far, far away, and to provide you with one of the final Mandalorian Season 2 updates. I say it's one of the final updates, guys, because we're only 3 days away from Season 2 dropping on Disney+. I'm super excited, as I'm sure you guys know, and I'm sure you're feeling exactly the same way. Before we get into the news, please may I ask you to hit like down below, to subscribe to my channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to be alerted every time I post a new video. You can expect daily Star Wars content from me, and sometimes I post multiple times a day to be right at the forefront of all of the news. But without too much jibber jabber, let's get into the news. Our first story comes from Comic Book, and this is a big one. Bryce Dallas Howard, who directed one of the episodes for Season 2, has said that she is desperate for fans to see it. She also teased at some pretty big things, so let me read you the article now. Bryce Dallas Howard is currently filming Jurassic World Dominion, but that's not the only franchise the star is currently involved with. She also returned to Star Wars to direct one episode from The Mandalorian Season 2 after helming an episode in Season 1. She states, "I directed an episode on the second season of Mandalorian, so that's already done, which is wonderful. So I'm looking forward to that coming out later this year." In a recent Instagram post, Howard teased that exciting things are coming in Season 2, which no fan could see coming from a mile away. That just gets me super hyped, and I'm desperate to see what she's talking about. We all knew that there would be big surprises in this season, and as I've told you before, Giancarlo Esposito said that this is going to be like The Empire Strikes Back, with moments that we just didn't expect or didn't see coming based on what we know from Season 1 and even from the rumors. I think what we do get in Season 2 is going to be bigger than any rumor of Ahsoka Tano showing up or even Boba Fett. So she also wrote on Instagram, "A year ago, before anyone knew about Baby Yoda, it was the most difficult secret in the world, and we were all bursting. I feel just as giddy, eager, and desperate for everyone to see what we've been cooking up this season of The Mandalorian. There's so much to look forward to," and then she thanks numerous different people at Lucasfilm and Disney. So like I say, this is a really huge tease for what's coming up in Season 2. A lot of actors and actresses on set have said that they can't wait to see it, more so for the reason that they were not given access to see all of the episodes either. Sasha Banks did say she has no clue what Season 2 has in store because they prohibited her, as well as many of the other actors and actresses, from seeing the bigger picture, because I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have cooked up something where it all kind of comes together by the end of the season. We're going to have a lot of cliffhangers this season, guys. I'm calling it right now. After each episode, we're going to be like, oh gosh, what happens next? And every day in between the episodes dropping is going to feel like an eternity. But having said that, it's a great time to be alive, a great time to be excited for The Mandalorian Season 2, and a phenomenal time to be a Star Wars fan. And with that being said, we now turn to another Mandalorian Season 2 article, and this one states, "Where the original trilogy characters are during The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian hasn't included any characters from the original trilogy yet, and here's what we know about Luke, Han, and Leia's lives." They start with Luke Skywalker, and they write, "Luke's story around the events of The Mandalorian sees him continuing his quest to learn more about the Jedi Order. Luke spent this time searching the galaxy for Jedi and Sith artifacts, which led him to a mission on Pileo to try and find Emperor Palpatine's observatory. It is there that he finds the compass Luke has in his possession in The Last Jedi. Luke also began training Leia to use the Force a few years before The Mandalorian. After Leia stopped training, Luke turned his focus back towards rebuilding the Jedi Order. This resulted in Luke largely disappearing from the view of the galaxy as he travelled to multiple planets, including the Sith homeworld of Moraband. These adventures led him to meet Loras San Tekka and learn about the Jedi Masters who trained his father. He also gathered many of the books Rey uses in The Rise of Skywalker during this time. As for Princess Leia, or General Leia Organa, Leia is in a brand new phase of her life during the events of The Mandalorian. On the day the Empire was finally defeated in 5 ABY, Leia gave birth to her first and only child, Ben Solo. By the time The Mandalorian takes place, Ben is just 4 years old and surely a handful for Leia. She has already decided by now not to pursue harnessing her Force abilities after having a vision that Ben would die at the end of her Jedi path. As for Han Solo, his story in the sequel trilogy showed him returning to his roots as a smuggler, but he is in a very different position during The Mandalorian. According to canon materials, Han has spent the last few years married to Leia and raising their son Ben. His new life hasn't completely kept him out of the pilot seat though, as Han does still fly the Millennium Falcon from time to time. Han's exact whereabouts during The Mandalorian are not clear, but it is known that he loses that Falcon to Gannis Duquesne sometime around here. Then we talk about Lando Calrissian. Lando's life after the original trilogy is busy in the lead up to The Mandalorian. He has spent the last few years serving the New Republic. He assumes more responsibility as the days of the Empire's reign draw to a close. As for good old Chewie, Chewbacca is retired from his days of saving the galaxy and smuggling when The Mandalorian takes place. He returned to his homeworld of Kashyyyk to liberate the planet from what remained of the Empire. In order to achieve this victory, Chewbacca worked with Han and several other mercenaries to free his family from the Empire's grasp. So I guess a great question is, why is this relevant even in the slightest? Well, it's been long rumoured that we would get cameos of original trilogy characters. We know almost for a fact now that Tamara Morrison is playing Boba Fett, but we could also get a flashback or even a vision of Luke Skywalker or even Princess Leia. I doubt we'll get Han or Chewie, but I do think one of the twins, whether that's Luke or Leia, might make some kind of cameo in Season 2 or perhaps even in Season 3, and the idea has been toyed around with for quite a long time. Now, I just want to talk about something I mentioned in yesterday's video, and it's in regards to Baby Yoda, the child, and his true name. I came up with a theory that he would be named Quill after the guy who saved his life and died saving his life. A lot of people said that it was a cool theory, so I do thank you for that. But if you have another theory as to what Baby Yoda's name is going to be, do let me know in the comments, because that is something that will be revealed in Season 2 and has been speculated for a very long time. And so now we turn to an article from Inverse, and this one is called Mandalorian Season 2 Could Solve the Biggest Villain Mystery in Star Wars. Yes, this is another one of these articles, and if you don't like the whole Palpatine Baby Yoda link, I suggest you click away right now, but I did like this one, so I'm going to read it to you now. The Mandalorian setting makes it ripe for the inclusion of surprise cameos. As it explores the time period between the original trilogy and sequels, there's a chance that Din Djarin may run into older versions of one set of characters and younger versions of others. However, there's one character that's ripe for exploration, and it's very possible it may occur in Season 2. There is truly no Star Wars character like Snoke. He seemed poised to be the next big bad of the sequel trilogy, but Rise of Skywalker revealed there was nothing more than a puppet leader for Emperor Palpatine. While we know why Snoke was created, we don't know when. All we know about when the creation of Snoke occurred is that it was after Return of the Jedi, but before The Force Awakens, which happens to be the exact window that The Mandalorian explores. Starting 5 years after the end of the original trilogy, could we see a young Snoke only a few years post-creation in the next season of Mando? A couple of clues to Snoke's early life can be found in the sequel trilogy's visual dictionary. At some point in his early life, Snoke took command of a group of aliens known as the Attendants, and apparently also trained an apprentice in the ways of the dark side. This unknown apprentice could be Moff Gideon, who wielded the Darksaber at the end of The Mandalorian Season 1. As we get to know more about Moff Gideon, could we see him talk to a potential Sith Master in Season 2, and could this Sith Master be Snoke? While this sounds like a prime opportunity to catch a glimpse of young Snoke, there's a contradiction in what we know about him. While Palpatine said he made Snoke sometime after his fatal fall in Episode 6, Snoke claims he's seen the rise and fall of the Empire. The Mandalorian Season 2 may be the perfect time to set the record straight about the chain of events that led to Snoke's rise to power. Snoke theories will always be part of the Star Wars fandom, but an appearance in The Mandalorian would not only flesh out his character to make his later appearances all the more powerful, but also give some much needed insight as to who he really is and where he fits into the bigger scheme of things within the Sith. Now, while I really like this article and it's quite cool speculation, please leave Snoke and Palpatine out of The Mandalorian. It's fine the way it is, and we don't need more of that sequel trilogy seeping into it. But that's just my opinion, and I'm sure you guys have a plethora of different ones. So I'm Star Wars Meg, and I'm wishing you a fantastic rest of the day, no matter where you are in the galaxy. I really hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give me a big fat like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.